Hello. I don't know if anyone's free in the afternoons, but I figured I would go ahead and do this because I have a busy weekend. And hey, who's your cold cases? And Chris, glad you guys are here. Busy night tonight. Actually, going to go out. So that should be interesting. But yeah, for a friend's birthday. And then the kids are home this weekend. And then we leave for vacation on Monday. So I didn't know if I would get another chance. And yeah, so I was just going to do some, what's in the headlines. I was looking on Oxygen. They have a like true crime lines, and Fox has a crime headlines. So I figured we would just kind of see what's going on. Hey, Lake. Hey, Polygraph. How are you guys? Hope. Glad you guys are here. You know what is so bizarre? Like, why can't my own channel pop up in the feed? Like, does it pop up in my own notifications? Maybe I'm not subscribed to my own channel. Is that a thing? Can you do that? That was a dumb question, wasn't it? It's been a long day. I've been wrapping presents and cleaning house and lots of shenanigans. But anyway, Delphi, start there. Haven't seen a lot of anything brand new, but let me check just to make sure. Looks like there is one. Oh, of course. I don't have a membership. It's is only available for subscribers. Let me see what the title is. Is it worth the money? But everything else looks to be kind of fading. Ooh, here's one. Let's see if I get this one. Let me share my screen. Hey, lighting the way home for the vanished. How are you? Attorneys for man charged in the Delphi murders case asked for court for money for experts in defense. The attorneys for Richard Allen, the man charged in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German in Delphi back in 2017, want their planned defense kept secret from everyone, including the prosecutor in the case. According to our sister station, WTHR in Indianapolis, Allen's attorney asked for funding for the cost of expert witnesses for his defense in a filing with the court Thursday. Allen's attorneys point out that he does not have the money needed to help in his defense. They also asked for the judge to order court personnel and court reporters to keep any information in the court hearings confidential. Allen County Judge Fran Gohl, who is the special judge appointed to the case, already issued a gag order in the case against Allen last week. The order prevents everyone involved from speaking publicly about the case. Anyone violating the order could be charged with contempt of court or face a fine or incarceration. A hearing is scheduled for the morning of January 13, 2023 in the Carroll County Circuit Court. At that hearing, Gohl will review the order to decide if it should remain in place. Last week, Gohl ordered the release of a redacted version of a document detailing the reasons for charging Richard Allen in the 2017 murders of Abby and Libby. This is the one that I was wanting to read. This one right here, the Journal and Courier. Richard Allen, the accused killer of Libby German and Abby Williams in Delphi on February. That's the trial date. So it just says ask for closed hearings. So it must mean maybe what. So they, okay. Am I like, I think I'm having like a really, like, I don't want to say blonde because I have a lot of blonde head friends that are super smart, but, just like a ditzy day, because weren't they the ones that, wanted it sealed? Like they wanted it unsealed? Hey, Cap, how are you? Am I remembering correctly that they wanted the PCA unsealed, but now they want, or is it just for like, my question is because of the court records and court reporters. So I think that's why it's throwing me off, because the PCA, things like that, like those types of documents, any kind of request from either the defense or the prosecution will go in, whether it has any details or not. It will be added to the public court records. So like, what are they asking for? And then it's not surprising that they want to hire their own expert witnesses with what we already know about the unspent bullet. Like, we all knew that was coming. I mean, we knew it was coming because it falls in the category as, whether we agree or not, it just is. It falls in the same category as search and rescue canines, whether cadaver or live. It falls into that kind of science. So a expert witness that's called by the prosecution could be saying that the extraction marks on the unspent bullet are identical, and they can give all the proof that they have and scientific research that backs up their proof, and so can the defense. So that's one thing that I can think of where they would want their own expert witness, with just what we know so far being the public. What about you guys? You guys got anything to add of like what are they wanting? Why are they wanting everything sealed? I mean, I get it. I understand why. It's just everything about if it goes to trial from both sides, prosecution and defense, is strategic. Every move they make. I know that like the County of Carroll and different, FBI, Delphi local, Indiana State Police, everybody is kind of seeing some bumbling about, is what it looks like on the surface. However, we really don't have any idea what is truly going on. We can have assumptions based on, what we may think is logical, but we really don't know. Captain Howdy put out another, him and Hoosier Cold Cases are just phenomenal, and they're just really phenomenal human beings. But my background is a shower curtain, so that's what that is. But we really don't, and not that I disagree with anything or anyone that's saying differently, but we just really don't know. And I forgot my point about the captain's video. Some of it was talking about the murder sheet and how much, well, I'm saying this, he didn't say this, but of how much stuff that they've gotten wrong and like why, what could be the purpose. And I know that CD analysis of a crime has talked about this before about possibly being given, they're giving false information because they want to find where the leak is so they can shore up things before um, an arrest or trial, which is where we are already. So that kind of makes sense logically, that they would do something like that. They don't have to tell us the truth. It's just, they don't. So a lot of people just, the truth is something that seems to get really watered down by the time it makes it to Facebook and YouTube and other social media outlets. So that's why it's always, be careful with who you like, where is your information coming from? And just because someone says it's a reliable source does not mean that it is. We have no idea, really. Like, there's so little absolutes in just life in general that, and then, it's staying to the facts would just be literally reading what's available to us, the public, as far as the court documents. But he made a lot of really good points in there about, the red Jeep, the different information, and, just overall. But the one thing that he brought up that I remember now, I am seriously having one of those days, so you just have to bear with me, was the an unspent, which, probably straight out from the box, bullet that was on Tobe, former Sheriff Tobe Lesenby's desk during an interview. I think I know which one it was too. The one with, what's the guy's name? Somebody help me out in chat that does those panorama videos. They're super cool. Anybody remember? I think it's him. But I guess Hoosier Cold Cases had seen it, or he'd seen it somewhere else. And, Captain was talking about it on his video and how it was like literally sitting on, Tobe's desk, like kind of right in the front. And I guarantee you I can't guarantee that because that would be more of an absolute word, wouldn't it? I bet it was purposeful. As far as just, hey, we see you. Because, I mean, none of us would have thought, no one thought anything about that bullet being on his desk. It was probably from, something important in his life, or just because of the nature of his job, no big deal. But in hindsight, you kind of got to wonder if that wasn't done intentional. And then if that was done intentional, what else has been put in that is intentional? If it even was, we don't know. But I don't know. It made me look at Tobin in a different light, and then reviewing things that he has said along the way. Like when he was out at the crime scene in, I think it was the HLN, but I could be wrong on that, interview that he did in the woods, and, was talking about the audio and, little things along the way of, basically saying. And then he also mentioned that the phone pinged in the middle of the night, and they went back out there. It just kind of, and it was kind of just like, how you can say something really like really intentional, like make a statement that's really intentional, but the way that you deliver that statement can trick people into just kind of like going right over it with you. Then you'll be like, I have a friend that is, I'm actually going to dinner with him and his wife tonight, and he is an expert at saying the craziest stuff in the most normal tone. And if you're not paying attention, you're just like, wait, what? Like, let's go back. Almost said his name. Let's like, what did you just say? Can you know, like he just throws you off. So I just kind of, I don't know, kind of made me think of was that one of those things that a statement like that? But anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's not gonna do anything. It's just things that I personally think about, and now I'm thinking about them out loud, and sometimes that can get you in trouble. Well, talking out loud will get you in trouble a lot. Hey, Chaotic, how are you? Saturday night, you're going to make an appearance. What? It's about time. uh, hey, Vanessa, how are you? I think I've seen you over in, oh, where was it? Maybe Sleuth's chat. If I'm remembering correctly, you do transcripts. Hey, Monica. Good to see you again. Lynn, hello. Verbal Judo, hello. It is rare for you, Chaotic. So that'll be exciting if we do a late night. We need one. It's been a while. We need those to unwind. But I might be able to swing it if it's late. Hey, Grandma Sherry, how are you? Good to see you here. One person was tested for all his guns at the beginning next to bridge. Yeah, and I know of another person that has never been mentioned in anywhere in the media. I kind of talk about it and then I kind of just slide right through it. But yeah, a relative of mine was questioned for Delphi. So I do know some things from him. And, you know, they questioned literally so many people. So knowing someone that's questioned is not rare. But one of the points that I keep trying to make is that the Kagan Klein, the released, which they should have never been released, transcripts of his interrogation, or one of his interrogations, are if all of the transcripts of all of the interrogations that they have done, all the interrogation interviews that they have done with all of the different men of Delphi and beyond, everyone would think that those other people did it too. Does that make any sense to anybody? Like, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse with that. Yes, there are things in there that are probably true, but they do not have to tell the truth to someone that they are interviewing, a potential suspect. They don't. And so they can say something like, we know you were out there. We know that you're, you know, we have this information that your phone pinged, to try to get a suspect to confess, or to get nervous a little bit. And you can read from, it's called the read method. Some law enforcement agencies have switched away from that interrogation technique because of protection against false confessions. And we do know that Tobe has talked about that before. That's why they don't clear they don't clear people. They cover them because, and they don't want, well, that's a different topic, but they don't want all of the information being out there, because the person that actually did this, and you'd be surprised at how many false confessors there really are, like people that have, certain types of mental disease can definitely would be that type to confess to a crime that they did not commit. Or if you get a tip of like, hey, my such and such told me that something crazy, that's not out there in the public. There were all the shoelaces were taken out of their shoes, and that's what was used to tie them up. Just an example of something that was in another case that they did not release to the public. But sure enough, that tip, with mentioning that, they knew that the information was viable because there's no way that person could have known that. That means that's something that they're going to send straight to the top of the tip list, if that makes any sense. But cleared versus covered is another thing that they bring up because of the fact that for a potential trial of the actual killer, because it's something that can it can come into play on the defense side, prosecute, so they want to be careful with who they publicly clear. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of fallout from that. Look at Ron Logan, look at, different people that have been named suspects, Daniel Nations, Thomas Bruce, who's that one wretched, his name is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. I mean, there's been a lot along the way. Duvall, ugh, gross, so nasty. Chadwell, another real forked up individual. Look what happened to this little girl with the FedEx driver. There's just a lot of really forked up, sick, sadistic people in this world. But anyways, anybody have any questions before I wrap up on Delphi? So basically, the defense wants more money so that they can hire their expert witnesses, and they will get that. They will definitely get that, and we want them to get that. We really do. And we also learned that they want the clerk and I'm guessing the minutes, the court reporter, not to be leaking any information. So they want to seal the court records, which they just argued against the sealed PCA. So what does that mean for the case? Did they get some more of the discovery? Did they get some more of the stuff? And now they're a little bit scared of what could come out into the public. Something to think about. Hey, Pigs Fly, how are you? Tomorrow night, I don't know. I'll have to let you know because I need to talk to my kiddos first to see what they have planned. But I'm assuming that it would be late by the time I'm free, which I know is totally fine with you. Hey, Justice Served Daily, how are you doing? I will text you. Oh, no. Hey, Belinda, how are you doing? Yeah, people wanting to be infamous. They don't care whether it's famous or infamous. It makes no difference to some people. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It will be late. Okay. Oh, were you not asking me? Sorry, chaotic. You don't have to have me on. Yeah, Lynn. Yeah. No, it says this mail is available. Wait. I see. I'm confusing myself, man. What a rough day. And I couldn't even read, and I usually do well at reading. Okay. I don't know what's happening. All right, so I'm gonna pull up and see what we have in the news. Oh my word, pull up. Let me read this real quick before we move on. I think there is a second person who is the mastermind. Alan is just a helper. The person that killed the girls is totally insane, and when named, people will say they are not surprised. I mean, who knows? I tend to think the opposite. I don't know. It's just, and that's the thing. It's just like my opinion, and they're like butts, but I don't know. I just feel like he's the only one. Like there isn't anyone else that's involved in the actual murdering of the girls. Now, an accessory after the fact or something like that, it's a possibility. Even someone, um, that helped stage the scene. Um, hey, True Crime Reb, how are you? That was one thing that I wanted to check. Let me pull this up before I share my screen. Maybe someone in the chat knows, but in the Ron Logan affidavit, was the word posed or staged used? Oh, I know I have it. It says land, property. Come on. Mm. So, I wonder if I can search in this. Well, neither one of those words is popping up, but that might just be on that page. Hmm. Oh, this isn't even the freaking Ron Logan one. Oh my gosh. Does anybody know which word it was? Posed or staged? Posed? I get super confused on, the two words, but I know stage means that it's, oh, let's look it up. It says the staging. All right. Staging and posing. The FBI profiler may also encounter deliberate alterations of the crime scene or the victim's body position at the scene of the murder. If these alterations are made for the purpose of confusing or otherwise misleading criminal investigators, then they are called staging, and they are considered to be part of the killer's MO. On the other hand, if the crime scene alterations only serve the fantasy needs of the offender, then they are considered part of the signature and they are referred to as posing. Sometimes the victim's body is posed to send a message to the police or public. For example, Jack the Ripper sometimes posed his victims' nude bodies with their legs spread apart to shock onlookers and the police in Victorian England. So, that is the difference between staged and posed. So, staged is intentionally trying to alter the scene to make it look like something else. So, that would be a part of the modus operandi. And posing is a part of the killer's fantasy, which we read that whole big thing about fantasy. So, we all know all about that. But it's basically something that they literally cannot help themselves. It's a part of what they have built up in their head before they actually ever commit a murder. They've already worked out the fantasy and their of what they're going to do, and sometimes those they're like compulsions to where they have to. Like who was that one killer that oh my gosh, there, like one I'm thinking of in particular was pretty. I just read about this serial killer too, and I cannot remember his name, but he took the eyes of his victims, and then he sewed their eyes shut in a very disturbing, fashion. And so, but it was like a part of the fantasy had to have been. And there was another one that always cut the clothes almost with like a precision. I think that one was in Washington or somewhere in maybe Oregon. But like victims' bras were cut almost with like what you would see in an ER. Their clothing was just literally cut off like precisely, and just kind of like different things like that can be, or like this one mentions Jack the Ripper. They're a part of their fantasy because like the power and the that they want and the control that they want, or they want to humiliate the victim. Even it's not bad enough that they've killed. They take it a step farther and they want to display in a humiliating fashion. There's been many killers that do that, and that would be considered posing. But if you were to do that at a crime scene, not intending, but intending to make it look like it was something that it's not, and say it was just a husband that killed his wife, and it's just kind of straight up, they got in a fight, you just stabbed her to death. he's wanting to make it look like someone else did that, then he may do something like stage the scene as make it look like someone broke into their house. Stage the scene as in make the particular deceased, murdered victim's body look like there had been a sexual assault that took place along with a robbery. That would be staging, and that would be a part of their modus operandi to get away with the murder that they are wanting to commit. But I want to get a confirmation that the Ron Logan affidavit says, because I thought it said staged. Moved. Okay. Thank you, Steve, True Crime Web. He is awesome. If you guys have not, you need to check out his channel. It is really badass. The girls' bodies moved and staged. So staged, we just read, is the word that is not used as part of that fantasy, but it's used to make a crime scene look like something that it is not in order to throw off the investigators. Now, can it be both? I would have to say yes. Just being a layperson, I would have to say yes, that it could be both part of the fantasy and a part of the reality of like trying to get away with the crime. But so it could be a part of like that compulsion, but it could also be a part of trying to throw the investigators off in some way. So, but staged is the FBI, behavioral analysis, like, and that is who wrote the Ron Logan affidavit, was someone in the FBI. I believe they were a behavioral analyst, like, BAU type, profiler, like what we all know of today from Mind Hunters, so I think that was a significant word in there. And, with a probable cause for arrest or for search, either one, there are certain things that, while, it's just a search warrant affidavit, it's nothing, it's not anything to like go tell your mom that they've caught Ron Logan, like he's the killer. It's just that leaked information that is just not leaked to the public for these very reasons, because it's, everyone thinks that, guilty, where's like stealing her word, just like, oh, they're guilty. There's a interrogation interview, guilty, there's a search warrant leaked, guilty, just like guilty people everywhere, when really we have no forking idea. Not until they know, and then when they do, we see a person arrested and charged. So yeah, they do. But do you think that a person, with like that is, they are a behavioral analyst, would mix those words up with the FBI, the person that wrote the search warrant affidavit? I can verbal judo. I think he is, like, I dated a guy not quite as short as him in high school that was shorter. He was like, I think no taller than 5'6". I couldn't wear heels, or I was taller than him, which I didn't really care. But so he was like 5'5", 5'6", and he was ridiculously strong. Like, it was just ridiculous. It's just like a natural strength. So you never know. And I've known people that are close to morbidly obese that could outrun, outwork, out physicality, everything, strength, endurance, everything other than me. I mean, and then age comes into a factor of something that we all consider too, of like, my dad, He plays pickleball like he is 25 years old. Like, and I'm like, we're out there about to die. And my dad is literally just like cutting and jumping and just, and he is 70 years old. So you literally, like my grandpa, he was in his 90s out doing work that you would expect, a young farmer's son to be doing, not someone that is in their 90s. So it's like kind of hard to say just because we're all built with different our like our genetics, just what we inherit. It can, and how that is turned on and off in our own bodies. So you don't dislike all short guys? Not all. Just one in particular. I'm sure there's a few more, but I think I know that she's talking about Guarino. Not the analysis, but the author may not be well versed or qualified. I'm unfamiliar with the author's training. Oh, okay. I think it stated, I don't know why I can't find it. I could have swore it stated the author's let me search here. In the very beginning of the search warrant, I've like, I don't know where it is. I hate that. Where I probably named it something. There it is. Come on. Oh, my Lanta. Our internet. It should be so much better. We pay out the ass for it, and it just really does not like to work. So it's all blank for now. I'll come back to it. But yeah, I did finally find it, but it's like not loading. How is my connection on here? Am I like cutting in and out? Oh, had a glimmer. Had a glimmer of it working, and then it went back out again. So annoying because I get so like the OCD. This really bothers me. Really bothers me because it's just a symptom of that. Like I want to see this now, and then when you can't let it go. You can't just move on. Oh my. There's been some really just scary stuff going on at my child's school. here lately, you know. FBI agent, officer, etc. Doesn't say behavioral. Okay. I don't know where I got that. I think, does it say a name? Okay, connection is good. All right. I'm going to try to leave it alone then. It's not going to happen. We're going to end up coming back to this. Just FYI, everybody. It doesn't make any sense of why it's just like blank. Bug. After the conversation. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Hey, Deb, how are you? Oh, cool. Nicole Robertson. Okay. Is it Robertson or Robertson? Robertson. Oh, Nikk. Special agent. She's filed a criminal complaint. Special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Oh, what are my duties as a SBI special agent? Investigate criminal violations relating to crimes against children, including violations of certain title. I have conducted and participated in numerous investigations related to sex trafficking of minors. Interesting. As part of my duties as an FBI agent, I investigate criminal violations relating to crimes against children, including violations of Title 18. I have conducted and participated in numerous investigations related to sex trafficking of minors. Yes, this is a new paragraph, but it repeats itself. I have participated in the execution of multiple search warrants involving the sex trafficking of minors. This affidavit is submitted in support of a criminal complaint alleging that Malik, these three people have violated Title 18 because this affidavit is being submitted for the limited purpose of establishing probable cause in support of a criminal complaint charging Malik McKee, Shantina McKee, and Willie Woods with conspiracy to transport minors in interstate commerce with the intent that they engage in prostitution. So this one doesn't say that she is a behavioral analyst either. So So, yeah, like, I mean, you would think that that would be what she would mention, right? I mean, if she was a behavioral analyst or profiling was her expertise, that would be listed. So maybe she did get the two words confused. So it could be she meant posed, as in what we just read about earlier. And that kind of changes things, doesn't it? Because I feel like those two words hold a lot of significance. And, but if I also can see where even if it is your career and, you know, like maybe you're not a part of the BAU, but you are in law enforcement, confusing those words would seem to be pretty easy to do. So, all right. It was on TV and a lawyer said that the crime scene was sexual in nature. What am I doing? All right. I'm going to go ahead and move on for a little bit to some other. I've had pulled up an article just from Fox. They have like a true crime, you know, thing, and there was a couple that I wanted to read on there, and then one on oxygen. Aw, thank you, Verbal Judo. New member. Hello. Yay. Awesome. Thank you for joining. Again, you know, memberships are just purely to support the channel at this moment in time. It is, it's a tough balance, you know, because I just can't do it all. I just cannot. And so memberships are for supporting this channel. But I really do appreciate every single person that does support what I'm doing here. It does mean a lot to me. All right, here we go. Idaho murders. What's this? 2 hours ago. Convicted killer arrested a mile from university stabbings. Moscow, Idaho. So these beautiful 4 teens here were brutally massacred in Idaho not that long ago. Police arrested an ex-con killer this week, just over a mile from the scene of an unsolved quadruple stabbing that left 4 University of Idaho students dead after they were attacked in their sleep early on a November Saturday. James Leonard, 39 of Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. Phew. I'm gonna have to get a drink of water. Phew. My goodness. Okay, now let my heart go back down a little bit. James Leonard, 39 of Moscow, Idaho, allegedly beat his wife and her daughter late Tuesday evening and slashed himself with a knife, according to court documents. Police said his arrest on December 7th was not related to the November 13th home invasion murders nearby. He had previously pleaded guilty to a fatal 2007 shooting, but barely served any prison time, according to court documents. Seems like a clickbaiter. Dispatch advised an intoxicated husband punched his wife in the head and struck his daughter, according to a criminal complaint at the latest charges obtained by Fox News Digital. Police arrived at their Palos River Drive home and found, I don't know how close that is, like if it's like literally behind their house, then obviously this guy is someone that they would definitely want to look at. Found Leonard's wife with blood on her nose and mouth, according to court documents. Leonard had holed up in a bedroom, and when police ordered him to come out, they saw blood on his hands and face and a large cut on his forearm. An officer frisked him and found 2 knives and a marijuana joint, according to the complaint. His wife told officers he had drank half a bottle of gin and became heavily intoxicated. He came inside from working on his truck and allegedly saw her on the phone and accused her of cheating on him. He allegedly yelled at her in front of her 2 kids, 20 and 15, her daughter's 21-year-old boyfriend and 1-year-old grandchild. Then, according to the complaint, he went in his room and started cutting himself. When his wife went to check on him, he allegedly attacked her with his fist and grabbed her throat. In the fracas, I don't know what that word is, the older daughter, her boyfriend, and 1-year-old went to a neighbor's house. However, at some point, Leonard also allegedly punched and kicked the 15-year-old, pulled her hair, and threw her into a dresser. Wow. Police later found her hiding under a chair in another room with symptoms of a concussion. What a piece of shit. Please don't scare the crap out of me with any more ads. Idaho murder. While his wife was on the phone with 911, Leonard allegedly slashed his arm, yelled out that she had cut him, and then that he needed help. He was accused of stalking her around the house with a knife. Police found a trail of blood inside and asked the wife if she was ever afraid that Leonard would attack her with a knife. According to the affidavit, she told them she did not know what he would do. And you got to ask, why is he out? The arrest comes amid an investigation into the deaths of Kaylee Goncalves, 21, Madison Mogan, 21, Zaina Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20, and about 1.3 miles downhill off of the next crossroad. So that was really close. Police found all 4 dead at a house just yards off campus around noon on November 13th. Bizarrely, Leonard's defense attorney is also the county coroner. His defense attorney is also the county coroner, who said that all 4 college students were victims of homicide by stabbing and that their wounds had likely been inflicted in their sleep. So the county coroner is also a defense attorney. That seems like a conflict of interest. I don't know, but okay. The Latah County coroner, Kathy Mubbett, was elected to office in 2006, shortly before Leonard's murder case, and is both an attorney and a nurse. Oh, gosh. These elected positions of coroner should just not be a thing. I'm sorry. She declined to comment on the case Thursday. On the morning of June 19th, 2007, Leonard shot and killed Tyler Lee outside his house in Genesee, according to an affidavit obtained by Fox. I'm the one who shot him, Leonard told a responding deputy, according to the filing. He claimed it was in self-defense after the victim came to his house, punched him in the face, knocked him down, and climbed on top of him in a fight. Leonard told police Lee had previously threatened him with bats, machetes, and other things, and said that the man showed up at his house around 2:30 a.m. Before going outside to meet Lee, Leonard grabbed a handgun out of a safe in his bedroom, told his wife to call police if she heard shots, according to court documents. He went outside and met Lee, who accused him of sleeping with his girlfriend. According to Leonard's version of events, he denied the affair, and Lee attacked him, threatening to slit his throat and harm Leonard's son. Leonard had a .38 caliber revolver in his pocket, pulled it out, and fired at Lee. A few moments later, witnesses reported hearing 2 more gunshots. Ooh, that's telling right there. The first shot struck him in the heart and was determined to be the fatal blow by Dr. Jeffrey Reynolds, the pathologist who performed the autopsy. He found the second and third shots to have been inflicted to his leg and face post-mortem. Dang. Mescaline and cannabinoids, but no alcohol in Lee's system. Witnesses later told police that Leonard backed up his truck before they arrived, a move they perceived as messing up the crime scene. One alleged that Leonard asked him for a shovel in an attempt to hide the body. Well, that's not very smart, but Leonard, in February 2009, took a plea deal admitting to involuntary manslaughter in exchange for a 5 to 15-year sentence. See, to me, like, the self-defense ended when you later, they hear, so right here, this a few moments later, witnesses report hearing 2 more gunshots. So he shoots him once in the heart. He's gonna go down. That was the fatal blow. And then he's heard later that he shot him in the face and in the arm. So involuntary manslaughter, I don't know. I feel like that should be like a voluntary just for because it's not premeditated, obviously, but I think he'd be charged a little bit more to get more than freaking 5 to 15 years because he obviously did some of that with intention. Just because the guy died on the first shot, I don't know. Police say 4 University of Idaho students were killed in a rental house on King Road between 3 and 4 on November 13, just steps off campus. 2 other roommates were on the ground level and escaped harm, according to authorities. 3 victims lived there. Chapin Kernodle's boyfriend was sleeping over. Chapin was a member of the Sigma Chi fraternity, which has a frat house about 200 yards away. Interesting. He was majoring in recreation, sport, and tourism management. That's cool. The University of Idaho said, man, this is so sad. Just like such normal things of like your whole forking future ahead of you. And then some madman just messes it up. Like, ugh, I hate it. He and Kernodle were believed to have spent most of the evening at the Sigma Chi house before returning to her place around 1:45 a.m. Kernodle and Mogan were both part of the Pi Beta Phi, I don't know anything about sororities, and were marketing majors. Gonclaves, a general studies major, belonged to Alpha Phi. Am I saying that right? They had been seen at the corner club bar in Moscow and at a food truck earlier in the evening. Police revealed Wednesday that they were seeking the occupant or occupants of a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra seen near the victim's home around the time of the crime. Police are asking anyone who knows anything to come forward, even with minor details. Your information, whether you believe it is significant or not, might be the piece of the puzzle that helps investigators solve these murders. Police said in a statement, anyone with information is asked to call the tip line at 208-883-7180 or to email tipline at ci.moscow, moscow.id.us. Okay, I just need 1 second. Okay, sorry. Package on the porch. Whew, that would have been loud. Alpha Phi. Really? Phi? All right, I'll take your word for it. I have no clue. What were we doing? This one, boy in the box, identified 65 years later. So awesome. Oh, I hope there's no pop-ups. Philadelphia boy in the box has been identified 65 years after his body was found battered and wrapped in a blanket as 4-year-old Joseph Augustus Zerilli. Oh my God. This is why I don't like, this is why I like newspapers.com. I don't like any of these new ones. I don't want to watch this. I want to close it so I don't get terrified. Whew. So yes, Joseph Augustus Zerilli. Police provided the decades-old cold case update during a presser Thursday. The boy's parents will not be identified out of respect for his living siblings, according to Philadelphia Police Captain Jason Smith. Okay. At this point, investigators only have suspicions about who is responsible for murdering Zerilli, which they will also not talk about due to the homicide being an active investigation. Joseph was found severely beaten and wrapped in a blanket in a box on February 25th of 1957 in a wooded area in Fox Chase neighborhood. He experienced horrors that no one should ever be subjected to, Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw said. What a cool name. Oh, there he is. Man, I've looked at that case several times over the course of the years. No one ever came forward to claim the child. I looked at him when the now identified boy in the suitcase, the Las Vegas boy Doe, Omar Jordan, but what was his first name? His last name was Jordan. His first name is escaping my mind right now. A blitz attack. Blunt force trauma is believed to be the cause of death. Police say that they may never make an arrest or identification of who is responsible, but they are going to try. Oh, sweet boy. Zerilli's parents are both dead, according to authorities. Countless professionals in law, medical, and other field worked the case over 6 decades. Zerilli's birth certificate was located at his birth mother after his birth mother was identified. His biological father was listed on the certificate, and relatives from the boy's paternal side were contacted. Investigators say a social security number was never issued for Zerilli, who was born January 13th, 1953. Authorities are hoping the technology used to identify Zarrilli will assist them in solving other crimes. Of course it will. That's awesome. But I don't know. Philadelphia. No, it seems like not. We don't even know if he was living with his parents, I guess. But not reporting your child missing is kind of a sign to your guilt. Just saying. But then again, this was in Philadelphia in 1950. Well, he was born in 53, so 57. Oh, yeah, 57 in a wooded area in Fox Chase neighborhood. Things were different back then, I would assume. It's a long time ago, 65 years ago. Wow. That's so crazy. But so awesome. How awesome is that, you guys? So awesome. Forensic, genetic genealogy is just really changing the game. It really is. What? Iowa woman claims dad. Scores of law enforcement officials descended on Thurman, Iowa, early Tuesday to excavate land for the second time after a woman claimed her father was a prolific serial killer who murdered up to 70 women and ordered his children to help them move the bodies, according to reports. People familiar with the probe told Newsweek about 15 vehicles. Authorities in Iowa investigating a woman's claim. At least I didn't scream out. With the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation, the FBI drove up to the area and blocked it off mid-morning. They had a piece of heavy equipment with them, the report reads. Authorities plan to bore into the site of a well and dig to test a possible shallow grave along moral mushroom trails on the land Donald Dean Studdy and his family lived. Isn't it moral mushrooms that grow, that can grow off of human remains? There's like a certain type of mushroom. I don't know. Authorities, okay, so Study's daughter, Lucy Studi McKitty, previously told investigators about her father's alleged history for years, including in 2007, which prompted them to excavate a portion of the property, Who 13 reported. The Des Moines Register reported about some of McKitty's conflicting claims surrounding her father, in addition to women mostly thought to be transients and what Donald Studi called bar slushes or prostitutes. Men are believed by his daughter to be buried in the well and on the property stretching some 400 plus acres in the Green Hollow area, about 40 miles from Omaha. I've talked to the FBI several times over the past decades. Why didn't they do something then when he was alive? Lucy Studi told the publication. I look forward to the authorities digging up the bodies, identifying the people, giving their families closure, and the victims a proper burial. So, possible serial killer, or it looks like it's kind of unknown what to follow this one. And then on that news, I don't know if it'll pop up on here, but this happened, which don't even get me started on Why? Why just now? I did a old show about old Herb here. It's quite the case study. I will say that. He was a American serial killer in the 90s who killed a lot of men, and he lived in, it's called Fox Hollow or Fox Hollow. And yeah, maybe this article will just tell us more. But this is where Chaotic Beauty keeps wanting me to go and spend the night. It's never going to happen. I would go and visit during the day, but I am not spending the night there. But yeah, this guy basically, like, he had this indoor pool area where he liked to entertain mannequins. He would dress them up for parties, and him and the mannequins would just chill by the pool. And then he would go into town when his wife and kids were, like, mostly when they went to French Lick for the summers and stuff. And then he would bring these men back from gay bars in, like, the Indianapolis area. I think mostly it was were the ones named, but and then he would bring them back to Fox Hollow here, and would kill them and then dispose of their remains out back on the property, like it's in the backyard. It's pretty crazy. Westfield, Indiana. Cadaver dogs hit on 20 different locations over the weekend during a search of the Fox Hollow farm property. The former resident of suspected serial killer Herb Baumeister, according to police. Those were spots on the property now marked with red flags, were where the dogs showed interest, were there where there could be human remains. Hamilton County Deputy and Coroner-elect Jeff Jellison also confirmed to News 13 at least 12 families with missing loved ones contacted the coroner to get a DNA swab. That's great news. Some of those families submitted requests from across the country. The update comes as Jellison announced a renewed push to find human remains at the Westfield property, where the decomposed and charred remains of at least 24 people were found 26 years ago. Many of Baumeister's victims have never been identified. Quote, these remains represent people. For the past 26 years, these people have been placed on a shelf at the University of Indianapolis, and that is not acceptable, Jellison said. We need to make every effort possible to identify these people and return them to their loved ones, Jellison said 13 News when the investigation began. Well, I like Jellison. Investigators believe Baumeister targeted gay men, killing at least 25 in the 1990s. In 1996, police found 10,000 bone fragments in the woods surrounding his home. To date, 8 victims have been identified, but over the past 15 years, the current owner of Foxhole Farms has found more bones and more fragments. We don't go looking for them, but they do turn up, and I take them to the University of Indianapolis, said Robert Graves, who has lived on the property for the past 15 years. He turns them over to the university's forensic anthropology lab, where they sit, joining the 10,000 others without identification. Wow. He committed suicide. So, like, once they were onto him, and like the 1990s, you could just go into newspapers.com and see just the bigotry, just the things have changed a lot for the LGBTQ community since the 90s, for sure. But these were men that were just out at gay bars, and they were just labeled as male prostitutes because of the simple fact that they were gay, and their families were too embarrassed to come forward. Like, these are the newspaper clippings that I found, like, that say this. There was only like one brave, like, family member that spoke out, but they just flat out, like, did not care. Like, it just, and so I'm happy for Jellison and his conviction to identify these men because they were humans. They were worthy. They did not deserve to be murdered by this asshole, and they deserve to have their name and a burial. And that's all there is to say about that. But yeah, there was a friend, I think it was a former boyfriend of one of the victims, but they had ended up kind of just being really good friends. And that man is a freaking hero. He did the job of the police for them. He literally set himself up to get to find out. So one night he's out. His friend who was murdered by her Baumeister was out at a gay bar. He sees his friend leaving with her Baumeister, even knew what car he was driving, and his friend never turned up again. So he went to the police. They did absolutely nothing. This went on for quite a while until this man decided that enough was enough. He was going to go looking for her Baumeister in the local bars to see that if he could get him to try to pick him up. And that way he could find out where he lived, and then maybe the police would go to his house, and then there they would maybe find something. So this guy literally does, he succeeds. He goes home with her old Herb, and of course, takes him to the pool. He's trying to find his friend, and takes him to the pool and starts to try to kill him. And this guy fights back and he gets away, goes back to the police, and then they finally go there. Of course, Herb knows the jig's up, so he takes off. He makes it to Canada, and I believe he shot himself in the head. And good riddance to him. But man, this dude was like, as far as family life, like I really dug deep on that guy. And because his family back, in the 40s, 50s, back in the day, like, so in Herb's childhood, the newspapers were like a socialite central. Like, if you had a party, if you had a ball or a gala or a fundraiser, it was covered in detail with lots of adjectives in the papers. And Herb Baumeister's father was a very prominent member of Hamilton County, and he was like a surgeon, I believe. He was a doctor of some sort, and he's got this perfect wife. She's a socialite of the year. She's just awesome, and they have these beautiful children. And then they have Herb, who his dad just, basically gave him a business, and he actually did, the Save-A-Lots. That's Herb Baumeister he started the Save-A-Lots and opened one, and did okay until he started to really unravel. And there was some sadism. He had a family, like a normal looking family. His wife's name is Julie. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. And just a very just like a very normal family, prominent in the community. The wife was completely clueless. Probably a lot of like dissonance there between the two, and probably because he was gay. He was a gay man, and he was trying to live the straight life, and that's just really sad for him, But it doesn't mean that you get to kill to have a male company. It doesn't mean that you get to be a murderer. But yeah, she's actually one that I was going to talk about when I do that, because I've been doing like a research project on the family and like the loved ones of serial killers, serial rapists throughout history, and just to kind of show you the different types of and how it is super easy to not have a clue sometimes to the people that are the closest to us. It is very easy to miss the forest for the trees. And no, don't read that stupid book. But yeah, and I hate that just name that because I like that analogy, so it sucks. But yeah. Herb Baumeister is definitely a killer of that like Lonely Hearts Club type. So somebody mentioned Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah, very similar. Herb was probably a little bit less. Um, I don't know. The name of that episode that I did was the meticulously sloppy. Just an oxymoron of a person, but that's what Herb ended up being. Like he was very meticulous. Uh-oh. Oh boy. Is it going to start playing something? But he got really sloppy because he knew that nobody cared, like he knew. So it just kind of, I really sucked for his victims because nobody cared about them. And you got to also remember at this time is when the I-70, I think it was I-70, might have been I-65 as well at the same time, because there were different ones targeting different, the I-65 killer I know, and there's been an I-70 killer that both targeted females. But there was I believe it's an I-70 killer that targeted men that's still to this day not been attributed to anyone. Herb came up in that investigation, but to my knowledge, no one's ever bothered to solve it. And I think it's high time that we go back in history and start correcting some of those wrongs that were done against LGBTQ members and giving them back their name and attempting to solve their murders. I still think of Ray Hainish, who was killed in 2019, which is not, that long ago, and but a small county here in Indiana, and it has been still to this day remains uncharged. And Garrett Kurtz, the man, if you want to call him a man, that killed Nicole Bowen, killed Ray, and he admitted to it. And they have not charged him with a damn thing in regards to Ray. And just the wording to from the prosecutor to the family was sickening. Basically blaming his lifestyle for it's just a fancy way to say, well, because your son was gay, his lifestyle was going to lead to him being murdered. No, and talk about staging. Now that was a stage hit. I've read the autopsy. I've read things that are not released publicly on that case, and that crime scene was staged. And Garrett Kurtz himself said it, and in a very disturbing, sadistic way. And it's so upsetting that they're not that it wasn't investigated properly, because of and I really truly do believe that it boils down to the fact that Ray was a gay man living in White County, Indiana, of why nothing was done and why the media didn't cause a stink. You would have thought that once this Garrett Kurtz and the group of delinquents that were arrested because of the Nicole Bowen investigation, that the media would have put a huge flashlight or mag light onto the murder of Ray Hainish. We tried. It just simply didn't go anywhere. I think WLFI, myself, Cheryl, and Miss Dottie and shares in the chats quite a bit. She's awesome. But we did sat down with one of the news reporters from WLFI there in West Lafayette and they did a great job. But that's it. You know, it's really sucks. Yeah, verbal judo for sure. It really is disturbing. Hi, Diamonds. Diamond Eyes, how are you? Oh, man. That's crazy, Diamond Eyes. FedEx driver now accused of killing 7-year-old Athena Strand was delivering the young girl's Christmas present to her home. I don't even know where it's playing from. 7.5% back. That's on top of your Kohl's cash. No. Delivering her Christmas present to her home when she was abducted and killed, according to her mother. Strand's mother, Madeline Gandy, brought the package of "You Can Be Anything" Barbie dolls to a press conference Thursday to address her daughter's devastating November 30th death. Athena was of the opportunity to grow up to be anything she wanted. And this present, ordered out of innocence and love, is one she will never receive. That's so sad. Gandy said, according to NBC Dallas-Fort Worth affiliate KXAS TV. Gandy said Strand had been staying with her stepmother and father in Paradise, Texas, when she disappeared the evening of November 30th. Her body was found 2 days later on a county road southeast of Boyd, about 30 miles northwest of Dallas-Fort Worth area, according to an earlier press conference streamed by ABC affiliate FAA. I was supposed to bring Athena back to our home in Oklahoma after Christmas break, Gandy said. Now instead, Athena will be cremated and come home in an urn because I'm not even close to being ready to let her go. Investigators quickly learned that a package had been delivered to the home around the same time Strand disappeared, and later linked the alleged kidnapping to a driver contracted with the shipping giant, 31-year-old Tanner Lynn Horner. Authorities said that Horner later confessed to the killing, telling investigators that he strangled the 7-year-old to death after he accidentally hit her with his van, according to an arrest warrant obtained by the Associated Press. Strand was not seriously injured in the crash and was still able to talk to Horner and tell him her name, but he allegedly panicked and put her in his van. Horner told law enforcement officers that he had tried to break the young girl's neck, but when that didn't work, he strangled her to death. According to the court records, he later directed investigators to where he hid the body, authorities said. Gandy is now left mourning all of the things she'll never be able to do with her daughter. I will never be able to do her hair again or hold her while she sleeps. I was robbed of watching her grow up by a man that everyone was supposed to be able to trust to do one simple task: deliver a Christmas package and leave. Gandhi is hoping to keep her daughter's voice alive even in her absence. She was an amazing little girl who loved dancing, singing, and all animals: dog, cats, horses, lizards, chinchillas, she said. She also loved school and all of her friends in the first grade, who are now struggling with her senseless murder. In the wake of the tragedy, Gandhi hopes to institute change in honor of her daughter. Screening and hiring policies must be put into place so that monsters wearing delivery uniforms don't show up at our children's doorstep. Please help me keep Athena's light shining. Gandhi's attorney, Benson Varghese, also spoke at the press conference, saying the law firm's short-term focus is on helping trans families so they can mourn the loss of their daughter. Our long-term goals are to thoroughly investigate how and why this happened and to hold any person or corporation accountable whose actions or inactions could have prevented this little girl's death, he said, adding they plan to leave no stone unturned in their quest for justice. Horner, who is facing charges of capital murder and aggravated kidnapping, is currently being held at the Wise County Jail on a $1.5 million bond. Prosecutors said they intend to seek the death penalty in his case. Wow. So if they're going to seek the death penalty, I would assume that there is more to this story. Oh, and here's the car that was seen near the murder scene in Idaho, the Idaho massacres of the 4 victims there. I didn't even know that Lou Perry died. That's Lane Frost. Although the condition that causes death is sometimes preventable, it's important to know the symptoms. Oh. Did I miss this? Ischemic cerebrovascular accident. The public's further revealed that there was no underlying cause listed as contributing to his death, according to the death certificate. Though he was rushed to the hospital on February 27, 2019, there was little doctors could do. Why is this here? Like, I guess this happened a while ago. Okay. Well, don't really follow much as far as that kind of stuff, but I did like him because he was Lane Frost in 8 seconds. Yeah, what is this sicko? I don't know. I don't think I can. A former police officer convicted of horrifically murdering his 8-year-old son will spend no less than 25 years behind bars. Michael Valva, 45, was found guilty in November of second-degree murder and other charges for the January 2020 death of his son, Thomas, who was banished to the garage of the family's Long Island home and left to die in frigid temperatures. Wow. On Thursday, Valva was sentenced to 25 years to life, according to CBS New York City affiliate WCBS TV. At the Suffolk County Courthouse in Riverhead, New York, Valva spoke just before Judge William Condon handed down the maximum term. "I am truly sorry," said Valva. I did not want my son to die. I never imagined he would have died. However, I lost my way. So I am sorry, but I'm not sorry. Because why? Because he put a but in there, even though he didn't say but, he still said, I never imagined that he would die. Yeah, no, not really. I mean, I can see where that's a true sorry, because he also probably did not, I don't know. It's sad though. I have already sentenced myself to a lifetime of extreme regret, remorse, and grief. Suffolk County Assistant District Attorney Kieran Kelly compared Valva's sentence to the suffering endured by Thomas. Thomas lived as a prisoner given a death sentence that was executed, while this defendant will have a cell with a bed and a blanket and a pillow and a heat. Said the child abuse sustained by Thomas and his then 10-year-old brother Anthony was one of the most difficult and heartbreaking cases he's endured during his 3 decades as a prosecutor. The torture that killed Thomas and endangered Anthony's welfare was nothing short of evil, said Tierney. Thankfully, the story of this defendant ends here, but the pursuit of justice and Anthony continues. Also charged in connection with Thomas's murder is Michael Valva's former fiancee, Angela Paulina, who owned the Center Morix home where Thomas died. Like Valva, Paulina pleaded not guilty to charges of second-degree murder and 4 misdemeanor charges of child endangerment. She has yet to face trial, which is scheduled to begin on February 21st of 2023. Valva was accused of making his son undress and, oh my God, and then hosing him down on January 16, 2020 as a form of punishment when Thomas soiled himself, often the result of being denied access to the toilet. The child was then forced into an unheated garage where he stayed for 16 hours without adequate bedding or clothing to keep him warm. That night, temperatures dipped into the teens. During the trial, which began in September, prosecutors presented home surveillance video where Valva could be seen mocking the boy. Footage showed Thomas unable to walk and was observed face-planting the concrete floor of the garage. He's cold, Valva said to Paulina in response to Thomas's deteriorating condition. Boo effing who. On the morning of January 17, 2020, Valva, an NYPD officer, phoned Suffolk County Police and reported his son had hit his head after running into a door frame. Prosecutors alleged that by Valva withholding information from medical personnel who initially treated Valva for a head injury, he prevented them from performing measures that could have potentially saved Thomas's life. When Thomas was admitted to the hospital, his internal body temperature was just 76.1 degrees. One after the other, teachers and staff with the East Morix School District took the stand in Valva's murder trial, testifying they called the state emergency hotline nearly 20 times to report the boys' suspected abuse. Instances included Thomas and Anthony, both of whom were autistic, eating discarded food items and crumbs off of the school floor. The Valva brothers showed up to class with multiple injuries in the months preceding Thomas's death and often came with urine-soaked backpacks or sneakers squishing from their urine. Thomas's death shed a harsh light on the alleged failures of Suffolk County Child Protective Services, prompting an investigation and calls for reform. Judge William Conan, who sentenced Valva on Thursday, addressed the lack of intervention as reported to WBS TV. How did all of us as a community allow this to happen? Asked Condon. We can never let this happen again. Yeah. In 2020, Thomas's and Anthony's biological mother, Justin, Valva, who claimed that Valva's position with the NYPD aided him in winning custody of the boys, filed a $20 million wrongful death suit against multiple parties, according to court documents reviewed by Oxygen. In June, despite motions by 7 CPS employees in the Suffolk County Department of Social Security to have the case thrown out, a federal judge ruled that civil proceedings would move forward, according to Newsday. Zebek Valva was not in the courtroom for Valva's sentencing. We will continue to do everything in our power to hold those responsible for the torture and abuse of these children, and also to ensure that Suffolk County has proper safeguards in place to prevent a case like this from ever happening again. Oof. All right, guys. I think that's about all I can take for today. I need to cut my bangs. They're too long. Yeah. Geesh. But it's just really, really disturbing cases there. Sorry. Just Hey, David Gray, how are you? Well, guys, I think I am going to sign off here. Zen Monkey, hello. Kate Peace Mule and Reach Into My Soul. How are you guys? Glad you're here today. Thank you so much, Reach Into My Soul, with butterflies on either side. Thank you for your super sticker. That means a lot to me. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, if they're $1, some of them are you talking about court documents? Some are free, but some are $1 a page. A page. It's crazy. Robertson, strange spelling. Okay. I'm just kind of going back and looking at comments that I missed. Hey, Swifty, how are you? You don't know how to read lips? Hey, Lipsha. Glad to have you here. Polygraph. Oh. That's good. I'm glad. Yeah. They really did love that. Hey, Arrow Sarge, how are you doing? It's been a minute. Or you may have been in here. Sometimes I get, I don't see people, but it's good to have you here. If you're still here. But glad you stopped by. You're not blocked. I can see you. Oh, it might be because I put on the 10-second like slow mode, even if it's just 10 seconds, because it keeps the trolls that use bots from dropping their troll name. Like they'll use like derogatory names in their title and post horrible things. And so sometimes by putting like even a 10-second delay on when people can type. So if it shows up gray, it's probably because of that. But yeah, you can sometimes, because they'll just spam you with them over and over and over and over again. But sometimes if they know that you like put on that, then they'll leave you alone and they'll just move on to somebody that doesn't do that. So I don't get a lot of those spams anymore since I started doing that regularly. So I think it helps. Hey, Blind Squirrel, how are you? I'm doing good. I've got a busy, fun week, but I may be on tomorrow with Chaotic Beauty and Crime. So check us out. We might be doing a late night cocktails and chat. So those are always fun. But the last one we had was like, I guess we thought it was enough for a really long time, because it was a really long time that we were on live, like 6 hours or something crazy. But we haven't done one in a while, so I'm looking forward to it. I hope we can get that done. And if you're not a member of Hoosier Cold Cases, you should be, because he's doing a live tonight, and I will be there. I will get to be there tonight. So yeah, that'll be a good time. We just have us a little small group and have us a big old time. It's really quite cool. Yeah, it's really cool. So, all right, guys, I hope you have a great weekend, and I'm glad that you were all here for today. Yeah, so all right, y'all have a good one.